What's up, everybody? It's Luke James, not the singer. If you're looking to get your music reviewed, you can hit up this email. That's right here. But today, we are finally going to talk about this Black Panther soundtrack. Now, Black Panther is a movie that's making all kinds of waves, especially if you're on Twitter, and this soundtrack was put together by Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick actually is lending his voice to a bunch of these tracks, so as you listen through, you're going to pick up on him doing some backup vocals here and there, some bridges, hooks, and of course some full verses of his own. Starting off with the first song, which is called Black Panther. On this one, Kendrick is rapping from the perspective of the Black Panther, just all the things that he's thinking and what he's been through. So I think for anyone who's familiar with Black Panther, you'll really appreciate the storytelling on some of these tracks. Thematically, it really does line up with Black Panther, not just with the content and concepts, but also just the overall sound here. You are getting a wide variety of genres. Now on the song King's Dead, Kendrick is actually rapping from the point of view of Killmonger, the Black Panther villain who apparently just gives zero fucks and is ready for beef. So you're going to get a lot of those types of things on here, which I thought was pretty cool. I mean, that's what a soundtrack should do. It obviously should fit the movie and have some of those references in there rather than just being, a splattershot collection of songs. But I can't talk about King Dead without talking about Future's appearance on here, man. On this one, it just sounds like he got punched in the throat and kept rapping through it in that one spot. I don't know what the fuck was up with that, but maybe I shouldn't be making fun of voices too much because I kind of sound like Doc Rivers because of this cold, flu, or whatever the hell it is. But either way, I still really thought this was a dope track. That little part, la-di-da-di-da, slap-a-ba-da, was kind of weird. Obviously, I mean, just seeing me do it is weird, but when you hear it in the song, it kind of catches you off guard. But this track is still fire, man. I thought J-Rock absolutely snapped on here to the point that I'm excited to hear a new album from him, and the beat is fly as well. I like those stuttering kicks, and you get some deep bass on it too. So, these are a couple of tracks right out of the gate that I really liked. But as for other bangers, we get the song X, where Saudi is coming through with an auto-croon type of style, but still bringing in some nice harmony, so I thought that was cool. And we get 2 Chainz stealing the show on this track once we get that gentle beat switch up. I don't know, man. I can't hate on 2 Chainz these days. I know he's hit and miss. I would never defend him as like the greatest lyricist on the planet, but I really like what he's been doing ever since Pretty Girls Like Trap Music. That album was good, that EP I just reviewed was good, and he had a fun little verse on here as well. But one of the tracks that really stuck out to me is Opps. This one is just an industrial banger. The drums on it are absolutely crazy, so it's fitting that Vince Staples is on there because it sounds like his type of beat. And you also get Kendrick on this with the verse as well. But the person who stole the show is Yugen Blackrock. I've never heard of her before until this song, but she's an MC from South Africa who went all the way in on this shit, man. I love her aggressive style. She's working some very nice flows and rhyme schemes. Excuse me as I almost spit all over myself, but I thought there were a lot of cool collaborations on this project. A lot of names coming together that you might not see anywhere else. For example, we get Bloody Waters, which brings together the complex lyricism of Absol with the smooth stylings of Anderson .Paak and James Blake. I thought that was a pretty cool track. And then with the song Seasons, we get Shava singing. I'm not sure how to say it. It's S-J-A-V-A, but we get him singing in Zulu. That was kind of interesting because I'd never heard that before. And then we get Mozzie and Reason dropping some social commentary bars, man. Just spitting a little bit about injustice and some of the things that are going on in the world today. So if you're looking for bars that are a little bit more complex and in-depth, at least as far as the content goes, I think those 2 tracks are ones that you're really going to want to come to. So as I said, you get a nice variety of tracks and genres here. I think there's a bit of something for everybody, which is kind of cool, but at the same time, it works against this project because you're going to be picking and choosing the tracks that you like. There's certainly some tracks on here that I wasn't all the way in love with, but I don't think there's anything on here that I thought was all out trash, so I mean, that definitely counts for something. Now, there are a couple of mainstream tracks on here as well. We get Redemption, which comes to us from Zachary and Babes Wodumo. This is just a very fun, catchy Afrobeats jam, so I kind of like it for what it is. Just something that's danceable, although the interlude that precedes it was kind of pointless, but hey, they threw it on there. Fun little track. And of course, there's the single called All the Stars by Kendrick and SZA. This song and the song that Kendrick did with The Weeknd called Pray For Me just kind of felt like generic mainstream radio tracks to me. I didn't think they were all out garbage, like sonically they come together well, and obviously there are some better bars on there than you're going to get from the usual radio type of songs, but even still, man, these weren't really great tracks to me, and there's nothing about them that makes me want to come back to them. They certainly will get radio play though, you look at the names involved and just the sound, so it makes sense, and really it was a smart move to have a couple of these tracks on the album. I will still give them some points though, because they match in with the theme of the album. Again, you're getting some content on here about being a hero who, is basically just fighting for everything, and yet nobody is really, fighting for him or helping him out too much. That was on the song Pray For Me, so I thought that was a pretty cool idea. Just a song about a hero who's in a dangerous position all the time, and he's not going to stop regardless of what could happen. So the track that I actually felt the weirdest about on here has got to be Big Shot. On the first listen or two, I didn't really like this one much at all because it's just kind of weird, but the more I listen to it, man, I fucking love this track now. Kendrick is working some very fun sing-songy flows on it, so it's a little bit different. And that beat is flames, man. I love the little flutes on it. Again, just like I was talking about in that 2 Chainz review, you're getting a little bit of a role-playing game vibe with those flutes. You know what I mean? Maybe some Secret of Mano, Chrono Trigger, Phantasy Star, however you want to go. And you do get Travis Scott on here with a very standard feature. There wasn't much about him that stood out, but I thought that his style contrasted nicely with what Kendrick was doing, coming through with that fun, catchy, sing-songy style. So this is a pretty weird track, and I thought it was pretty dope, so I got to shout it out for what it is. Now, just to wrap up some of the other tracks on here, because I'm trying to talk about them all, I did like the song I Am by Georgia Smith. This one actually samples Travis Scott's Drugs, You Should Try It, so I thought it was a cool contrast, how you get that grungy guitar vibe with her beautiful vocals. She is just amazing to me, man. I think she is absolutely gorgeous, first of all, for whatever that's worth, and she just has the voice of an angel. Every time I hear her, I'm happy to hear that voice, so I really want to get a full project from her coming up soon. And, the other track on here that I would say I didn't really care for would have to be Paramedic. I know a lot of people have been going crazy about this one, but there wasn't much about it that stuck out to me. You do get some pretty fun styles and verses, I will give it that, and there was a beat switch up on the third verse that I thought was dope as hell, man. I wish they had ran with that a bit more, but this wasn't a track that I hated, but I definitely didn't love it, and if I had to pick a least favorite, that one would be it. Wasn't really a great one. And the last song I haven't talked about is The Ways. This is Khaled with his beautiful voice, some very nice harmonies, and Sway Lee doing that high-pitched falsetto kind of auto-crooning, which, it's all right. I wouldn't want a full album of that, but once in a while it's okay, like on this song. And we're getting a very groovy bass line, some nice production here. So that was a pretty solid track for what it is, man. Again, there wasn't really anything on here I thought was straight up trash, but a lot of the songs are just kind of good to me. I'm not in love with a bunch of them, maybe 3 or 4. So I'm going to go with a 3.5 out of 5. I do think this is something that's worth your time. I could see it being like an honorable mention at the end of the year, but I don't see it as anything that's going to sneak into my top 20. But still, it is nice to have a soundtrack that's actually cohesive, relevant to the actual movie, and you don't get that too often these days. Back in the day, we had soundtracks that were banging, whether you want to talk about Sunset Park, Space Jam, for crying out loud, Gridlocked, I could just go on and on. Obviously, I'm not going to list them all off, but it's nice to have a soundtrack that feels powerful again and has people talking. So 3.5 out of 5 seems fair to me. A lot of good tracks, a couple of great ones, but not something that's going to make my year-end list. But that's just what I got to say about it. You guys check it out for yourself and then hit me up in the comments section with your thoughts. And of course, man, check out all my social media sites because you know where I'm at. You got to show me love and show me lots of it. Thank you for watching, everybody. I will see you next time.